Over Pat. Hop shop, I had to get a babysitter today. To get a babysitter to come here. They have to get a babysitter to come here. I have the perfect situation. I have 2 kids, and I have one that's old enough to babysit, so that's perfect. I have a 10-year-old daughter and an 18-year-old son. Some of you are like, oh, so the 18-year-old's babysitting? Well, he thinks he is. I really have my 10-year-old Puerto Rican daughter keeping tabs on my 18-year-old adult son. I have him texting me every 10 minutes his whereabouts and what he's doing. Just now she texted me, hey Dad, is it normal to make grilled cheese on the ironing board? Wow, how is this kid still alive? That's what's going on in my house. I'm like a child myself. Like my wife briefs me before I leave the house. I feel like I'm the president sometimes. Some people are like, what iPhone do you have? I'm like, I don't know, the 8, the 9, the 30, I'm not even sure. Sometimes my wife just hands me a phone and goes, this is your new phone now. Like, I don't even know. One time she's like, you also have 2 kids. I'm like, what? Where did the other one come from? Like, geez. That's how we roll in my house, man. It's good to have kids. I love my kids. You guys love your kids or what? Yeah, my son's 18. Stupidest fuck I've ever met in my life. During the quarantine, he started jogging, and he would jog to a certain point and then call me to pick him up. That's not how jogging works. Real stupid bastard. He wanted to get a car, but I said, you gotta get your license first. I knew that would take 2 years, and it did. Yeah, he finally did get it though. He failed 6 times. One time he failed, I go, why'd you fail? He goes, the instructor was a bitch. She said I did the X turn wrong. I'm like, well, it's a K turn. You have the wrong letter. I said, if you want to get a car, save some money and I'll match whatever you make. I'm thinking he's going to save like $200 or whatever. This dude went out and saved $3,000. I had to cough up 3 stacks for this kid's car. He got into an accident, but he parked the car across the street and hid the accident from me for 2 months. My neighbor called me and goes, is John okay? I'm like, I think so. He goes, the whole entire passenger side of his car is wrecked. I'm like, oh, that's why he's parking across the street. I'm 41 years old now, and phone calls from my friends are different. Like when one of my older friends calls me, it's usually someone's dead. It's usually like, hey, what's up, Paul? He's like, guess who died this time? I'm like, ah, fuck. You know, it's always bad news. It's like, Joe died and I have diabetes. I'm like, fuck. I wish it was like when we were 20, when he would call me and like, he'd be like, hey, fucked an older woman who has diabetes. That's how I used to go. Can't get rid of those prayer cards though, right? When someone dies, you go to a wake, you can't get. Yeah, I was driving the other day and I put the visor down. There's my Uncle Larry looking at me. And I'm like, how is he here? This is a new truck. Because you transfer the prayer cards. You can't throw them away. I open a drawer looking for a scissor, and I have 3 of my dead friends looking at me. I'm like, how did they get there? I found a constructive thing you could do with prayer cards. Here's one example. I still play baseball, so I put my old high school coach who died, I put his prayer card in my baseball bag. So every time I go to play baseball, I look at my coach and go, all right, I'm going to do it. My dad was a painter, so I put his prayer card with all my painting stuff. So every time I paint, I get reminded of my dad. I'm like, hey, Dad, what's up? My cousin died of a heroin overdose, so I keep his prayer card with all my things, with all my other stuff, all my other things. I got an Italian friend who always wants me to use this guy. Like you have an Italian friend, like, use my guy. I'm like, I'm doing siding. Use my guy. I'm like, your guy sucks, man. Getting a new car. Use my guy. He does the leases. I'm not using these in the mob. I'll get my taxes done. My friend's like, use my guy. I'm like, no. He's like, you're going to wanna. my tax guy is a midget. I'm like, what's his fucking name? I'm using him. Yeah, that's definitely something I'm interested in. So I used his guy. I went to the place. I went to the lady at the front counter. And I'm like, I'm here to use Joey's guy. And she goes, what's his name? I'm like, I didn't get his name. She goes, well, do you know what he looks like? I'm like, I don't want to be a dick. I'm like, I don't know, I think he was Italian. And she goes, more descriptive. I'm like, all right, lady, it's the midget. I want the midget. And she's like, Chris or Paul? I'm like, holy fuck. You have 2 midgets doing taxes here? Just stack them up. Give me all 3 of them. I'm gonna give a shit. I'll probably get more back. They have a lot of great ideas. So I did get my taxes done by this short person. It was the most adorable way to get your taxes done. It was nice. Yeah. It was. Trying to quit skull. I chew tobacco. Anybody try to quit cigarettes? Not easy, not an easy thing. I always tell my friends, like, you know, day by day, you gotta chill out. My wife goes, now you have something in common with your friend who's trying to get off of pills. I'm like, did you just compare Percocets to skull? She's like, yeah. I'm like, I never blew my friend Larry for skull. I blew my friend Larry, but not for skull, you know? My daughter's happy I quit. My daughter's happy. She goes, Dad, if you were to die, which Mommy says is probably coming soon because of the way you live, if you die and Mommy met a new guy and got married, I would have enough respect for you to not call him Daddy. I'm like, that's cool. She's like, I'd probably call him Chris. I'm like, what? Who the fuck is Chris? How do you have a specific already name? How is that even possible? The guy that did my taxes, his name is Chris. The top one. The top one. Me and my family, we just got a puppy. And I realized I have one job. My job is to make sure the puppy takes a shit. Like, she sends me out to take the dog for a walk, and all I'm doing, I'm a 41-year-old man in my boxer shorts walking this dog, just trying to, like, come on, take a shit, take a shit. Dog will look at me and like, oh, I'm gonna do it right here. And then the dog will be like, nope, I'm distracted, and then walk away. My wife goes, did the dog shit? I'm like, yeah, the dog shit. She goes, where's the bag? I'm like, you need evidence? I went in the garbage and got an old bag and gave it to her. She goes, the temperature's not right. I'm like, you bitch. No, because my wife's a detective. She's an actual detective. We got a puppy cam in my fucking living room. She calls it a puppy cam. I call it living room surveillance. Yeah, all day I'm sitting home alone. I do this at night. She's a detective. She comes home from work. She's like, how was your day? I'm like, not bad. I wrote a couple of dick jokes. I don't know if you've seen it on the puppy cam or not. She's like, no, I didn't. I'm like, how was your day? She's like, had to cuff 2 guys by myself. I'm like, oh shit, that sucks, huh? She's like, yeah. I'm like, are you happy that you're married to me? She's like, did you forget the end of that joke? And I'm like, I sure did. I just did. You know? And that's it.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.